I'm joined now by Sari Bashi. She's a human rights lawyer and research director for DAWN, a group founded by Jamal Khashoggi. I want to get your reaction to this phone call that we heard President Biden had with King Salman just a short time ago. And again, in the readout of the conversation, there was no mention about this intelligence report or the death of Jamal Khashoggi. So why not? And what does that mean for relations going forward?
Look, I think what matters less is what was said during the call, or what was reportedly said during the call, and what happens tomorrow. So we expect the Biden administration to fulfill its commitment to publish the report. And once that report is published, we expect the Biden administration to take action. The report is believed to implicate Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in the direct murder of Saudi journalist and Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. It's believed that he was receiving real-time updates from the killers as Khashoggi was being murdered and dismembered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. And frankly, action needs to be taken. The United States has already issued travel bans and asset freezes against 17 members of the killing squad who killed Khashoggi, and there is no reason why those same sanctions should not be applied to the Crown Prince himself.
So this report really confirms what many have suspected and talked about what happened. And Joe Biden knows what's in that report. You mentioned options. What more can we see? What are some other options? Legal actions, more political actions?
So in terms of the Crown Prince, he should be prosecuted criminally. That can take place in Saudi Arabia. It should take place in Saudi Arabia. Beyond that, the United States government should release additional information that the CIA and other agencies have, not only about the murder, but also about what U.S. intelligence agencies had, what information they had regarding the threat to Khashoggi's life. Khashoggi was a U.S. resident. He was living in Washington. He was lured to the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on the pretense of registering his marriage to his wife Khadija, and it is possible that the U.S. agencies, the U.S. intelligence agencies, had information about that threat and failed to warn him. If that is true, that needs to be made public so that others can be protected. Beyond that, there's a broader relationship. The United States is the largest arms supplier to Saudi Arabia. In the last 5 years, the U.S. approved $64 billion worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia. Those weapons are being used not only to kill civilians in Yemen, but also to prop up a brutal regime that is headed by a de facto murderer. So that aid should be stopped. There is no excuse for continuing to arm the Saudi government when it is headed by somebody who brutally murdered a journalist in the consulate.
And sorry, that is a very important reminder here. So how would you decide of relations at this moment? What do you say? What would you say is the status between U.S. and Saudi Arabia? And does it appear this new administration may have a different attitude than the previous Trump administration? We know that both countries are very intertwined. What is the balance here?
So the Biden administration has promised to make human rights a cornerstone of its foreign policy, and it has announced a review of arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Those are all very important steps and different than what the Trump administration did. The Trump administration actually disobeyed a law passed by Congress requiring it to have released the report years ago. So we see improvement. One matter of concern is that the Biden administration has said it will stop selling offensive weapons to Saudi Arabia used in the war on Yemen. But more needs to be done. I don't know what the difference is between an offensive or a defensive weapon. I do know that the United States government is propping up a murderous regime and preventing democracy in Saudi Arabia. So from my point of view, for the Biden administration to fulfill its pledge to make human rights part of its foreign policy, it needs to stop arming the Saudi regime.
Sari Bashi, great to hear your take. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.